Hello, everyone. This is David Rothfeder, and we are doing the first session of a playtest of a game that I've been working on called You, Me, and the Zombie. It is a game about a family, trying to stay together and make things work among a changing dynamic. That dynamic is one of its members now craves human flesh. So I want to thank everyone for deciding to play and trying out this game with honestly a bit of an unusual context. But let's do introductions real quick so everyone knows who might be looking at this knows what's going on here. So let's start with Ryan W.
So I'm Ryan W, and this is actually my second week on the Gauntlet. So I'm looking forward to get more games in. I'm looking forward to this especially.
Okay, Ryan M.
Hi, I'm Ryan M, and I've been with the Gauntlet for about 3 months, so I'm still looking forward to getting to more games.
And Alex.
Hi, I'm not Ryan, and this is also my second week with the Gauntlet and second game with the Gauntlet, so excited for this and to get into more games as well.
So before we have addressed the Ryan issue, luckily we are now in a game where we can refer to each other by the character names, and hopefully you're not going to both choose Ryan.
We should both choose the same name that's not Ryan.
Oh God, please!
No. I think my character is going to be named Ryan, so.
You know what? Throw my hands up, quit. I'm joking. I have shared with you the documents for this. This is a game really about family. And what I wanted to do here was make a game that was interesting, that had about families having to deal with issues, but that is not about dysfunctional families. Because I have noticed so much of our media, and I can't even think of a game that's specifically about family that doesn't have an element of dysfunction to it. So this is a game where the family is not specifically dysfunctional. Now that said, it is in this type of situation, it is possible for the family to become dysfunctional, where the issues that they're having basically breaks down the family dynamic. And I think that that's part of the challenge of the game. So usually to kick this off, to get people into the right mindset of why a game like this is important, I want to talk about some of the things about family that's kind of awesome. So here's a list of the examples that I have in the rules. Having people be proud of your accomplishments, whether even if it's just getting through a tough day. Watching somebody grow better and stronger and knowing you had a part of it. Knowing that there is someone who will be there for you at your best, at your worst, or even on just a normal Wednesday. And then sharing the little joys in life, like a nice meal or a celebratory scotch. I have a bit of a cough, so it helps. As far as the drinking, assuming everyone is of an appropriate age. That said, here are the things that are kind of at stake in case things go bad. So when families are not functioning well, we have lying, cheating, neglect, and exploitation. Or exploitation. We have disownment and estrangement. We have a frigid family life as a possibility. We have people living double lives where their life at home is nothing resembles their life outside of their home. Or I just put a general thing of worse, because there's a lot of things that are terrible that we know happen to families and can be triggering to some people. So I didn't feel the need to say it out. So, but really, that's it at stake. We want to get to the, the family wants to get to the point where they're doing those top things, and we know that there's the danger of those bottom things there. So the goal is so that's where the challenge is it's not to be better, it's not to be badass, it's not to get your way. It's to come up with a dynamic that works and that is healthy. That said, there are a lot of challenges. So this game is kind of based on Powered by the Apocalypse. I haven't decided whether I want to use that tag or not, but who here has played a Powered by the Apocalypse game? Awesome. So you'll be familiar with the concepts of playbooks and of moves. Who here has played Lady Blackbird or Secco Creek Vigilance Committee? Okay, so keys are going to be a little bit different. So the way this is going to work is we're all going to take the three of you are all going to take playbooks. And as you can see on the character keeper, they're already there, and everything's pretty much already filled out as far as the rules go. One player must be the changed, and that's the person who is now no longer living. They are craving human flesh instead of food. They eat about as much a day as a human would, except instead of, regular food, they need to eat people, and specifically fresh people. Probably the same rules for, level of, meat quality goes for humans as it does for the changed as it does for other people. Now that character is called the changed and not the zombie, because the zombie is a derogatory term. It is mean, it is vile, it is someone who just wants to do terrible things to other people. I am the zombie. So whenever the rules talk about the zombie, that is the person running the game, because I am going to be the source of all of your misery. The changed is really just that, someone who didn't really have a choice in the matter, but it's not necessarily a negative thing. They are more passionate. They are less restrained, which is both good and bad. They can be impulsive, but definitely have a joie de vivre, joy of life, which is ironic because they're dead. Everyone else is going to play a role that is kind of how they are coping with this as a member of the family. What role do they play in keeping this family working together? So we have the enabler, the one who's just trying to make things work and basically is making sure things don't go to shit, which kind of enables some bad behaviors sometimes. There's the moral compass, who basically is saying, whoa, 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 that's too far. There's the investigator, who wants to know more about undeath. And there's the confidant, which is kind of the release valve of the family. They're the ones who listens to people's problems and people goes to with the problems in an attempt to, deal with the stress, because this is a stressful situation. So in a little bit, we're going to choose those roles. Before we do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about how the mechanics works. There are no dice in this game. There's no hit points. There's nothing like that. It's mostly going to be a narrative game. There are, however, keys and moves. Keys are basically playing into the stereotypes of your characters, or really the archetypes of your characters. They do your characters tend to want to do things in a certain way. And what that does is it controls the chips in what's called the body bag, which I'm using a physical bag rather than trying to figure out roll for your party for this. The body bag is going to start off with 3 black chips in there. Black chips represent really bad problems involving undeath. Things like the changed needing to eat somebody, or other zombies coming off, or showing up, or body parts falling off of the changed, or other things along those lines. In addition to the black chips, you can add red chips to the bag. Red chips represent basically secrets getting uncovered, specifically bloody, messy secrets, maybe involving murders. So those are things that really are triggered by hiding things and are going to make the things that you have tried to hide more of a problem. Then there are green chips. Green chips are temptations. They are things that the characters are going to want to do and have to make hard choices with it. That can sometimes be good, but oftentimes that's pulling you away from other obligations you might have to the family. So dangerous. And finally, there's white chips. White chips are normal family problems. Problems at work, problems at school, problems with the house, problems with the neighbors. Kind of that everyday mundane thing. What you're going to do, and one of your biggest motivations, is going to be adding more chips to this bag. This is for 2 reasons. Now, the bag is going to sound terrible. In a lot of ways, it's representing where all of your problems are coming from. But the thing is if you never add anything to the bag, then the bag is going to be nothing but zombie problems. And zombie problems are big problems. Especially because if the bag's ever empty, I just add more black chips to the bag. So that's one of the big motivations to hitting your keys. Is to come up with those situations where you can get more chips into the bag that are less black. Now, sometimes characters are going to do cool things that add black chips to the bag, and that's okay too. Because as far as the story goes, we never we always want there to be a possibility for zombie problems. We just don't want there to only be zombie. Now, moves are more like Powered by the Apocalypse. They basically say, hey, when you can position yourself to do a specific thing, it has a different effect. And it's basically just, you can read what they do, and that lets you do it. Now, one of the things I did on the Character Keeper is I made sure that all of the keys and all of the moves are easily visible to everybody at the table. The reason for that is really, you should be, as players, you should help position other people to triggering their stuff, because that's fun and awesome and cool. That said, what I'd like to do is go around and start figuring out who wants to be which roles. So let's go to the PDF that I shared and go to page 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to take turns reading just the first 2 parts of the of each character sheet. So I'll start with the changed, and then Ryan W will go to the enabler, and then Ryan M will do the moral compass, and so on and so forth until we've read all 5 roles, so that we have an idea of which each one is about. So let's start with the changed. It's not that you hated your life. You loved your family, of course, and work wasn't too terrible, but there was always something you wanted to change. If only you hadn't been so afraid, you could have done something differently before you died. Now the air is fresher, the sex is better, and holy shit, bloody human flesh tastes like your soul is having an orgasm. Nothing can hold you back from getting what you want now. Well, as long as you don't rot apart, earn arrested, or destroyed by someone who knows more about what's going on than you do. Passionate, free, and problematic, the changed is the focal point. Is the focal point for the change in the family. Play the changed if you are willing to be the cause of many issues, but are able to see results or see the spotlight at times. Okay, Ryan W., do you want to read the flavor for the enabler?
Okay. The enabler. Being a flesh-eating zombie isn't as easy as it sounds. A spot of blood in the wrong place, a lie that doesn't hold up, or a strong odor could be the difference between staying a family and becoming an urban legend. You love the change, but they just don't have the presence of mind to keep it all together. It's a good thing they have you. You'll be there through thick and thin, because that's what family does. But fuck if thick doesn't sound like a bitch.
Stain like a bitch.
Oh, stain like a bitch. Caring, dedicated, and self-sacrificing. The enabler is there when you need them most. Play the enabler if you want to play the rock of the family and put others first.
Excellent. Ryan?
The moral compass. Right and wrong used to be easy. Don't hurt others, own up to your mistakes, and help out whenever and however you can. But the rules are completely different when a person you care about subsides on the flesh of the living. You love the changed, but their new nature has distorted everything. Now everybody is scrambling to make this family work, but they easily lose track of where the line should be. Luckily, they have you to make sure this doesn't become a family of monsters. Righteous, brave, and sometimes unable to compromise, the moral compass makes sure the family doesn't lose sight of right and wrong. Play the moral compass if you want to keep the family from crossing the line, even if it puts everybody at risk.
Okay, Alex.
The investigator. This family used to have rules. Everybody had responsibilities. There are specific times when everybody is together, and nobody hides the big stuff from each other. But everything's different now. You love the changed, but they've given the family a whole new mess to figure out. It's a good thing that you're there to help figure the new rule, no matter how grotesque or maddening they turn out to be. Curious, studious, and often obsessive, the investigator strives to understand undeath so they can prepare the family. Play the investigator if you want to unravel the mystery of what happened to the changed.
Okay. And then the confidant. This shit is intense. Your family has gone from planning soccer practice and dinner plans to creating kill spaces and planning who to murder next. It might be what's needed to keep you together, but it's also hard on everyone. You love the change, but you know that if the family doesn't get a chance to vent their frustrations, someone will crack. But they have you, ready with an empathetic ear and a pint of ice cream so they can let it all out. And hopefully someone will do the same for you. Empathetic, trustworthy, and caught in the middle. The confidant is who everyone goes to when they need to complain. Play the confidant if you want to be privy to everyone's secrets, but also at risk of hurting others because of it. So at this point, we need to divvy up the roles. And the only required one is that someone plays the changed. Was anyone feeling very strongly about that?
I'm probably most interested in the changed or the confidant, but I'm not stuck on anything.
I'd say I'm most interested in the confidant, but also not stuck on anything.
Then it sounds like I should be the changed and you should be the confidant, and everyone's
Works
happy
for
except
me.
for Ryan W., who hasn't got to say yet.
It's okay. I wasn't hanging on either of those, so like we can still be.
You kind of cut out there for a second.
Oh, sorry. Just saying we can all still be happy because I don't need to be the changed or the confidant.
Oh, you don't need to change the color for the changed. I specifically made the text white there.
I wasn't changing colors.
Oh, for some reason it went gray for a little bit.
Oh, when you're typing in a square, it goes gray for a bit. It's weird.
I never noticed that.
It doesn't usually stand out that much because they don't usually have fill colors, but when there are fill colors, then it looks really weird when you're typing stuff.
Okay, so everyone, so let's see, Alex was doing the confidant. Ryan, did you have thought of which role you want it to be?
I was going to ask you, since it's a playtest, if there's any playbook that hasn't been played yet that you want tested.
I have not seen anyone play the Moral Compass yet, and that is one of my favorites. So
then I'll play the Moral Compass.
Awesome. And what I'm going to do to make it clear that we are not using an investigator or a enabler is, oops, that is not the right color. That one? Yes. I am changing the color of those texts to match the background.
Do you want me to just hide the columns or something?
Is that something we can do?
Yes, it is.
Okay, where is that feature?
You highlight the top bar, and then in the drop menu, it'll have hide columns.
Awesome. That makes that sheet way cooler. And then I can also hide those tabs. Cool. I never knew that. So then we are into character creation, which is actually super easy. Excuse me. The way character creation works is we are going to be discussing who everyone is in the family. Actually, that's right. Something we did wrong with the sheet is the sheet was actually set up So I'm gonna undo you guys putting your names. It's actually set up where if you put your name in the tab, the information in the tab that matches your character, then it was supposed to automatically populate the summary sheet. So if you guys can undo adding your names, just to have that autofill in. Sorry about that. It's been about a week since I built these sheets, so.
Ah, cool. I should have noticed that when there was already text in there, but I am very used to just plonking stuff into the sheet.
Yeah, I tried to put in some automation because to make it easier when people flipping back and forth. But, you know, benefits and disadvantages. So what you're going to do is you're going to, as you go, you're going to fill in what your character's name is and kind of what your place in the family is. You know, are you the son? Are you the father? Now, family is defined however we define family. So neighbor, BFF, anything. If you wanted this to actually be a family of that is completely just people who found each other because they're all separated from their biological families, that is perfectly all right. Family in this game is defined however people want to define family. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to start going around and answering the my questions. And we'll answer one at a time going around, starting with the changed. So starting with Ryan, you're going to answer that first question. After everyone's answered all of the 3 questions in the yellow boxes, everyone's going to ask each other character one of the blue questions. And you're just going to mark who you asked there. And that's going to build up the concept of family. Now, as we go, totally ask each other follow-up questions. Be like, hey, is this cool? The whole idea is to build up an idea of who the family is and what your relationships are like. So Ryan M will get us started.
Cool. I was just going to, do you want us to figure out what sort of family relationships we are, or what sort of family we are before we start filling these out, or go straight to these?
So it actually works that you kind of decide that when you feel like it needs to be decided.
Okay. Cool.
In all of my play tests before, it's usually someone tries to answer a question and then they're like, well, what if this is the case for the family? People are like, yeah, no, I like that idea. So really, the questions I found really just kind of get the ball rolling. So don't feel like there's a specific time. It's just by the time we're done, we should really know that.
Awesome. So my death has allowed me to change in all the ways I wished I could. How is my personality different? I think I'm a lot more curious and adventurous now. I was very habitual before, and now I just want to see stuff, do stuff, and eat people's faces.
Is the face the best part?
Definitely.
Awesome. Okay. I need to hide one more sheet. So then, Ryan, what was your first question?
So my first question is, what line will the family never cross? I don't think the family would ever harm a child to help the change, or at all, really.
Excellent. I hit the wrong tab. And then Alex, what was your first question?
What has the change told you they're worried about? I think they said they're worried about losing control.
Okay. So yep, just type it into the spot there, so we can keep track of that. Which brings us back to Ryan.
So where did I die? I think probably on like a camping trip or something.
Cool. Was it a family camping trip?
Sure, why not? Traumatize everyone.
Was it an accidental death or was it a biological death? As in, like, did you get sick and die, or did like something happen to you?
I think it was an accidental sort of death.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I fell off a boat and drowned, or fell off a cliff and splattered or something. I don't know. But I'm back and everything's awesome. So
now, one important thing about the changed is they are not inherently grotesque. Things can happen to the changed over the course of the game, but at the beginning of the game, you're not like a rotted corpse.
And I don't have like magical zombie healing powers or anything, huh?
Well, that's one of those things that we may need to answer. And the fact that we don't have an investigator makes it makes it a lot more up to me.
Well, if it works smoother, I can totally have just like, been kind of sick and died and then gotten better over the case of a camping trip. But
or
whatever.
Drowned works. Or if it was more like, hey, I hit my head, you're just like always wearing a baseball cap.
I think I want to go for not having obvious gory wounds yet. That way I have lots of room to get them later.
Awesome. So do you want to do the sickness or do you want to do the drowned?
I guess I'll go with sickness, and I somehow like caught zombieism. I'm not sure how that works because we don't have an investigator, so there's no one to ask. But
that's just fine.
Maybe it was a weird bite or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know why you got sick. So Ryan.
So my next question is, what have you stopped the change from doing? So when we start the game, I assume we all already know that the change has changed?
Yes.
Okay. Then I think so when the change, before we'd figured out what was going on, the change got really hungry and kind of in a not thinking about what they were doing, they tried to attack the confidant, and I stopped them.
Okay. So the change doesn't even always have the presence of mind not to eat the family. Interesting.
Or maybe it was a rough awakening to my zombahood.
At the very least in the beginning. Maybe now.
That certainly gives credence to the fear of losing control.
Alex, your next question.
Yes. My next question is, what do you do to keep sane? I think when it's too much, I close myself off in my room and like listen to music with headphones on, just tune the rest of the world out.
Awesome. We'll see how long that works.
Oh, I'm sure that will be difficult to
I totally hope there's at
maintain.
least one scene of you listening to music as just mayhem is going on in the background.
What type of music do you listen to?
Party metal.
Party metal. So that actually is going to be like an appropriate soundtrack. Ryan.
Who was the first member of the family to discover that you're undead? And I think that was probably our confidant when I, not quite thinking, tried to take a chomp out of him.
Okay. Ryan.
So my last question is, what one thing could the change do to get you to betray them? So, what do we mean by betray here?
So the whole premise of the game is you want to keep the changed around. You want to do what's necessary so that you can continue to be part of a family with them. What thing can they do that's so heinous? And it's different than the thing that they would never do, because you'd never even think about it. But what's that one thing that you're like, if they ever did this, it's too far. I'd have to turn them in.
Huh. So it's can't be as bad as harming a child, if that's the line they'd never cross.
Well, it's more of the child is unthinkable.
I think... Man.
Now, this could be something like them cheating on you.
Huh.
This is not specifically...
Okay.
Notice that all of these questions actually are not specifically like zombie-based.
Huh. That makes it even more complicated. Because I was leaning towards like a 3 strikes kind of thing. Like if they killed too many... Innocent's the wrong word, but maybe that is the way that the moral compass would look at it. If they killed somebody that didn't deserve it.
Now I'm really curious who you would think deserves it.
Yeah, I think for the moral compass there would have to be some sort of like the change. It's almost as though we can only kill bad people to feed to the change.
So it's Dexter, but with zombies.
Well, so I will say this game is very much inspired by the Santa Clarita Diet. And there is a part in season 2 where they're like, yeah, let's eat these zombies. Or I'm sorry, let's eat these Nazis.
That just reminds me of the comic about like a vampire pointing out to what's his name? That but wait, this guy's a Nazi. And he's like, oh, okay, then carry on then. But the main issue was, but what if he gets a tummy ache now? Because that's got to be bad food. So
I've been meaning to watch that show. Now I need to move that up my list.
The Santa Clarita Diet is totally fun. So you were saying...
So does that work?
Yeah.
I think it's just something like if they killed someone who didn't deserve it, and we'll figure out who deserves to be killed as we play.
I like how that leaves a lot of leeway for you to be inconsistent about who deserves it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. And the Confidant, your next question.
Yeah. How do you plan to keep the family from bottling everything in? And not sure. Does anybody have any ideas? Because
some things people do is they have a lot of families do this with rituals, things like this is our these days of the week we have dinner together, or sometimes it's a ritualized phrase that indicates, hey, share with me and we'll be judgment free. Sometimes it's they have a there's something that you do that always like just breaks through. But yeah, this is the idea is you have something implemented so that people are going to share with you.
I think, yeah, I mean, my family bottles everything in all the time, so not super familiar with any of these techniques, but I was thinking something along the lines of periodically having dinner together, at least, say, 3 days of the week, that sort of thing.
Okay, so you can type in family dinners. It's great. That's a great way to get people talking. Okay, so next we're going to go back to Ryan, and this time you're going to ask someone else a question, and you do not have to go down the list. You just choose a person, choose a question, mark who you're asking in the drop-down box, and the drop-down boxes are not working. So let me undo the data validation on that, but then you type in the results.
And am I asking all of these, or just like picking one for each person you have playing?
You're asking each character one.
Okay, cool.
That's a shame. I thought I had that working. Oh, I know why it's not working. People haven't typed in character names yet.
Oh, okay. Ha, that would explain it. So, Confidant, how am I better to be around now that I'm dead? Except for when I'm trying to eat you.
Sorry?
How am I better to be around now that I'm dead?
I think you just seem a lot more relaxed in conversation and easier to interact with and get along with overall. I think maybe before you were pretty very in your own head a lot of the time.
Maybe a little uptight?
A little bit uptight, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Now, other Ryan gets to ask a question.
think I'll ask Ryan M. Where did my sense of right and wrong come from?
I'm sort of torn between you had a very strict family that gave you a very clear sense of these, and the option that you were a philosophy major, and this just comes to you naturally.
Oh my god, the moral compass is a philosophy major.
Do you have preferences of those two
Well,
options, or?
The latter is reality, so...
Oh god! It's like Chidi from The Good Place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, nobody likes a moral philosopher, but... Okay, I'm super tempted to go with that then, if that's not going to be too crossover for you.
No, I'm cool with that. I can maybe bring some realism to it.
Okay, excellent. Alex.
Yeah, I think I'm going to ask our moral compass, why is it so easy to share with me? Do you listen when I need you to do the same?
So to the second question, yes, I do listen. Although I probably have a pretty clear idea of what I think you should do, and I'm not afraid to tell you.
But you wait until after they're done to tell them.
Of course, yes. Yeah. After they've spilled their guts to me. Yeah. So yes, I do listen. What makes it so easy? Let's say you're easy on the eyes.
Ooh. Which brings up an excellent question. Are your two characters in a romantic relationship?
I'm gonna say, well, so from my end, no. But I like to flirt.
Okay, yeah, I think I think not being in a romantic relationship works, and I think also part of it, could just be I have a trustworthy face, sort of thing.
Okay, so if there's possible romance here, then how are you two related? Obviously, well, hopefully not biologically.
Let's not.
An incest game.
We didn't. I don't think we put a line on that specifically, but let's not do incest.
Yeah, let's create a new line for that.
Yes.
I don't know if it needs a line. I'm just saying, let's avoid it if possible.
Was like, yeah, I'm not.
I'm curious if the confidant is. Oh, I mean, so if I'm flirting with you, are you aware of this? Is it welcome? Is it an annoyance?
I like. I think the confident. I think I don't like really mind it as long as it's sort of understood that it's also not requited. Like if I'm okay with harmless flirting, But
you enjoy the attention, but you have no intention of reciprocating.
yeah, and as long as like that is mutually understood, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking maybe it would almost be the reason that I do it is because I know that maybe there's no chance of anything there, so it's safe.
Works for me.
So if I'm a philosophy major, were we perhaps in a class together? Is that how we know each other?
Yeah, I think that makes.
Now you will consider each other family.
Yeah.
So
So I mean that means
Maybe that's how
one
we
of
met.
us at least is. I think we could have become really good friends in college. Means one of us at least is not actually related to the rest of the family, and I mean none of us need to be, obviously, but like that's a I don't know if you have a preference for that.
I mean, Ryan, where do you see your character fitting into this?
Which Ryan do you mean?
You.
I know. We need some character names.
Yes.
I'm cool with whatever. I think we could be like a totally just found family sort of thing, or like maybe I could be related to one of them and not the other, or I don't know.
Well, we can come back to it. The reason, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because I was hoping it would force people to come up with character names. Because, it's usually easier once people have decided on genders and how they're related to each other. That usually starts spurning names. Has been my experience, at least.
I just recognize I'm not the one who shares the name with anybody else, but I came up with the character name of Claire, and I think Claire is non-binary.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was totally resisting the urge to just name myself Brian or something and be a complete dick.
I hate
Do
you.
it.
Speaking of which, you get to ask the next question.
So, moral compass. Why are you afraid of life without me?
So I think on that question, I am going to say that we are related. But I don't have a name or gender yet, so I don't know. We'll say we're siblings till we figure out names and whatnot.
Twins.
I guess we couldn't have the same name then if we were twins, unless we had really.
Although I did once go to school with a pair of twins, I didn't realize we're twins because their names sounded almost exactly the same, but were written differently. And I only ever saw one at a time, so I thought it was just one person.
When I was a teacher, I taught a pair of identical twins and had to learn how to tell the two apart.
One of us eats flesh. I don't know. Do you want to do identical twins?
Sure, that sounds fun to me.
Okay. So that would be why I'm afraid of losing you.
Are you like the type of twins that like really completely identify as twins and like I've seen it go both ways, where the twins are like super close and almost considering themselves the same person, and ones where it's like, no, I'm a different person. Fuck you for thinking otherwise.
I almost like the idea of before the change, they did identify really closely. And then after the change, it's really hard for me to still identify. I think that sounds appealing to me to play it that way.
That works. The change kind of threw a wrench in our twin hive mind.
Does that mean that is the moral compass kind of uptight like the changed used to be? Or were you the fun one? And then when the changed became the change, it's like, wait, I'm not the fun one anymore.
No, I think the uptight thing makes more sense, especially since I am the moral compass. Yeah, by the book, uptight, yeah, and still am.
Awesome. Well, we really need to hammer out names and, well, we've gotten the relationships. I think we do need to tie a little bit more Claire in with the twins.
I was thinking, what if, I mean, we could have met as just classmates, but at this point, I think it could be cool if we're all, say, living in the same apartment,
Yeah,
and have been for a while. So
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, more than simply a friend of the family. Like, I am effectively part of this family, if you consider this family to essentially be this apartment.
Mm-hmm. No, totally works, especially if, this is, if you have basically been living together for like 10 years.
Yeah, how old are we? I mean, we're all going to be roughly the same age since, well, probably. If you're twins and we were classmates.
Sorry, I was distracted by the thought of like Golden Girls and zombies being a possibility for this game.
Yes, I love it. I'm not sure who would be the changed. I mean, it's probably Mona. In any case, the other side of it is, I have another question. The twins, when you first met Claire, did they go by Claire?
Sorry?
I asked, when they first met you, was your name Claire?
I think I went by Claire back then, yeah.
Okay.
I think I've gone by Claire for a long time.
Was Claire your given name?
I'm going to say yeah.
Okay. But H, which also, we can talk a little bit about occupation as well.
Well, if I got a philosophy degree and did not go any further than the bachelor's, I'm probably working in a coffee shop or a bookstore or
if you get lucky, you could have gotten an office job.
Yeah, although I'm not sure if I would have wanted an office job. I think maybe I work at one of the last remaining brick and mortar bookstores in our town. And I have since probably before going to college. So I've been at that store. Well, we haven't decided the age yet, but
Are you like the assistant junior manager?
yes. Or maybe I'm the manager, given that I'm super uptight and everything's by the book. Yeah, I think I'm the manager of that store, and I run a pretty tight ship.
Is this a big bookstore like Barnes and Noble, or is it a small one?
I think it's small.
Okay.
Mom and pop kind of thing.
Probably mom and pop retired, and they're willing to keep the store open as long as it doesn't lose money.
And maybe I'm like the only full-time employee. So up until the change, I was there all the time. And maybe now I'm trying to have to manage that store as well as my sibling.
Excellent. Claire, what do you do for work?
I think Claire wasn't a philosophy major. I think they were an English and history double major, which has can have a lot of overlap class-wise. And now they write articles for an internet publication.
A big one or a small one?
What?
Do you like work for BuzzFeed, or do you work for like one that nobody's heard of?
I think it'd be more like one of the Vice subsites. Probably used to write listicles, and managed to graduate from that at some point, thankfully.
Awesome. And how about the changed?
I think I had sort of, I'm not totally sure when I turned, but I definitely had like an office job of some sort, was doing super great, then changed and went, heck with that. I don't want to sit behind a desk anymore. And now I like work at the deli counter at a grocery store or something.
Oh, that's terrible. I love it. Okay, so here, it's a writer, changed with your. Did you make good money when you worked in an office?
Probably for the office, not so much, but for our cast of characters here, I was probably pretty well paid. I could have worked my way up to a 6-figure salary if I hadn't, dropped out and gone to work hourly again.
Just love meat. Okay. There's a couple more mechanics that we will need to talk about in a little bit. But before we progress, we really need you guys to fill out character names and places in the family. So I think we know Claire, friend / roommate. So Claire looks good. But the moral compass and we kind of know that you two are twins, so you can just put that down for place and family. But we really need those names.
So are we going to be identical twins?
I don't know, I was waffling on are we identical or are we the fraternal ones who just look an awful lot like each other?
Ryan and Graham.
No. Hate you. I hate you. I hate you. For those who aren't getting in on the joke, we have 2 players named Ryan, and we have tried to play a game like this before, and holy crap, was it difficult.
And we resisted the urge to name half the characters Ryan, even though that would be, realistic. So really, you should be grateful to us.
I actually have a story of something that was even worse. Have any of you guys played any of the Jackbox games? They're kind of like a video game party game that you run it through a video game system and then you actually play it on your phone. We played it where there were like 3 Davids, including myself, and then everyone else got on board, and then a bunch of people decided not to use their actual names, but we were playing games that involved like us interacting with each other, so we needed to know who each other were. And then it got really bad when one game everyone decided to basically do a variation of David or not David, and the game was all about looking at what other players were doing and figuring out who was lying about it. So the game was impossible because everyone was like, "Oh, wanting to strangle the people." Sorry, diversion, appropriate diversion. In any case,
I'm just hearing, so we should be David and not David, but
no!
I'm gonna pick. Not gonna torture the zombie too much because that will come back to bite me. Literally. I'm gonna be Aaron, she, her. And
Awesome.
You can decide whether you want to be identical or fraternal or whether we're not even twins and we just tell people we are.
I feel like a Barbara.
Awesome. So, with that in place, now we get to make the NPCs for this game. NPCs are actually super easy to make. Everyone is going to make between 1 and 3 of them, and we'll just go. We'll go around introducing the NPC. NPCs basically have a couple parts. They have a name, and they have the type of NPC. Basically, what type of relationship do they have to the family? And that's in a drop down. They can either be a neighbor, a boss, a coworker, a teacher, a principal. Which teacher and principal, since no one seems to actively be in school, so those probably are not going to be done. Although former teacher, former principal, that could be cool. They can be a friend, they can be a police officer, or they can be a love interest. So these are the people that you are going to interact with throughout the game. They are also very likely the people that are going to get killed because the zombie has a move that talks about killing people. What you're going to do is you're going to come up with the name, and you're going to and what type they are, and you're going to come up with two traits. Now these traits, contradictory isn't the word, but it's gets you along the right line. There are 2 traits that are going to give differing opinions. For instance, an NPC could be lazy but trustworthy, or they could be nosy but friendly, or they can be talented but an asshole. You do not need to feel like that has to be, one positive and one negative. Just 2 that don't, 2 that that aren't parallel is probably the best way to put it. And then the last thing is once you choose the type of NPC, it will basically it should prop up a prompt of what type of relationship they have, and they'll have that relationship with another character. Most of those relationships should be with other NPCs. Some of them are okay to have with the family. Really what we're doing is we're creating a messy web of characters so that if someone dies, it creates ripples over things. Now, it is okay to name the connection to an NPC for a character that doesn't exist. That character then exists. We don't need to make that NPC card yet. We make that NPC card when that character becomes relevant to the game. That allows me, whenever I need to make an NPC, to just make one on the fly, and I can ask a couple of questions, or I can just make it on my own. But the idea is, let's make a couple of people that I can, that, and it's to help me out very much, so that we can have people in scenes.
Hey Dave, before we do NPCs, a quick question. Were we supposed to ask 2 questions under the questions for my family? One for each of the other characters?
Oh shit, we didn't finish that. I am so sorry. That is on me.
Just checking.
Yeah, I thought we were further along than we were.
Talking about careers and apartments and stuff.
Yes. See, I was bringing that up because I thought we were at the end of questions.
I think we got, because we didn't have names, it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. But now we do have names, so we can finish filling those out.
I'm not sure where we were. I know I've only asked one.
Yeah, I think Ryan asked both of his, so you need to ask your last of yours.
Okay. So I will ask Claire. When did I not do the right thing? How did you help me understand that I was wrong?
I think when you initially found out about the change, you were not cool about it at all. I think I leave the details of how you reacted up to you, but I think I helped convince you, like, this is still Erin. She's different, but she's still, our family.
Maybe I wanted to have her, I don't know, committed. I thought she'd gone insane. For her own good, of course. So, and I guess you helped me to see that she was better with us.
Yeah. Which, given the state of the mental health system in this country, is probably a given.
Well, also, they're going to be like, yeah, this person's a monster.
Yeah, that too. But I think Claire's first angle on that was the mental health system in this country is, messed up. No, come on.
Use the rational, logical argument with the philosophy major.
Oh, God.
Cool. I like that.
Okay. And then Alex has one more question. I'm sorry, Claire has one more question.
Yes. Erin, what haven't you told me because you're too ashamed?
I'm trying to think of it appropriately shameful secret. Oh, so I work in a deli counter now and everything, and I'm around meat all day, but it's all just kind of disappointing. I mean, human meat tastes and smells a lot different, and it's really good, but I pretend that this other stuff will work because I feel like you're more comfortable with the idea that maybe I could just eat really rare cuts of beef at family dinners or something, and that would be okay, but it's not okay.
So you're kind of bringing in human flesh and making it look like it's actual cuts of meat.
I'm totally animal lecturing this. That's not what I was thinking, but yes, that totally works. That I'm just like, yes, this is a nice cut of an animal that was never a person.
So you're basically hiding your eating habits.
I think I'm trying to make my eating habits look a bit less awful than they necessarily are, and trying to humanize them. Even though I'm humanitarian. Ha ha ha.
Awesome. Now we can actually do NPCs. So does anyone have any ideas that they want to get started with for NPCs?
I was thinking of the one part-time employee that works at the bookstore that I manage, who has suddenly found himself working far more hours than part-time now that Aaron has changed.
Awesome. So you have a coworker.
And I think we'll call him Chris.
By the way, if other people want to start filling out NPCs, while Barbara is getting started, that's perfectly all right.
Let's see. So Chris is, I'm going to say he's dependable, but nosy. They are buddies with, I'm just going to say somebody. Oh, wait. We've got one person. I'm just going to say somebody named Jonathan.
Okay, I just noticed that on the NPC sheet that friend did not populate. Neighbor's not populating. That's why. Okay. I didn't actually copy and paste the code into there. Ooh, what happened there? Okay. Should be working now. Maybe not. Pulling weird stuff off of the data stuff. I have no idea what that is. Okay. Well, I know what it's pulling from. I don't know why. We'll worry about that later. Okay. Who is making Chuck?
That's me. Chuck was Claire's weed guy in college. And I think I don't know anything about Mrs. Tran, the neighbor, yet, but I think he lives in the same building as Mrs. is really close to her. And he's not a bad person, like in that he's not like actually malicious or like harmful, but just sort of the way he is like, oh my god, you're the worst person I've ever met. If that makes any sense.
He's is he a bit of a bro? Is he like
he's like on another level of bro, I think. Like like not necessarily like actively misogynist, but just he exudes sort of aura of yeah, I guess.
Okay. By the way, it is if you deem it's completely appropriate that the person actually his connection is no one, that is okay. We don't want to use that too often. So if Mrs. Tran is the elderly neighbor who lives alone,
I was totally thinking like the tiny old Vietnamese landlady or something, and maybe she lives with a handful of small dogs or something. But she could also live with a person. I don't know.
I mean, that also works. She lives with a horde of chihuahuas.
I was thinking like Shih Tzus, but yes.
She's
we're not totally sure how many she has because you never see all of them at once, and they all kind of look alike.
It might just be the same chihuahua, and she could never remember its name. Okay. Are there any other NPCs? Because I'd say we probably want to have at least 6 just to be on the safe side to get started.
I'm gonna change Chuck's name to Ted because I don't know, it seems too close to Chris. Also, I like Ted better. Ted with 2 Ds.
There's a mailman option. Someone forced something through.
I was not paying attention. Oh no, we've got 2 cops. That's not gonna work.
Nope, I can undo that.
That was my fault. No, it's fine.
Nope, you go make a police officer. I just always want to make sure there's at least 1 police officer in the game. So when I saw that you were doing a mailman, I was like, okay, time to make a police officer.
Till we figured out that I shouldn't have typed that.
We have Bob, the lazy and polite police officer.
If Bob is his last name, he's Officer Bob. And he's partnered with super stereotypical Mahoney.
Does the other connection have to be another NPC, or could it
No.
be a PC?
It can be a PC. The idea is we want to mostly do NPC so we get a nice messy web. But if there's occasionally a PC in there, that just makes the web that much messier.
Okay.
But if every NPC points toward that connection points towards a PC, it doesn't work.
Okay.
At least that's what I am assuming.
So, how many NPCs do you want us to create, Dave?
Specifically, it says 1 to 3. I was looking. I always look to get at least 5 to 6 for the first session to get started. That way, when the change kills a couple of them.
And is it okay to double up on the relations to family, or do they need to be unique?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine to double up on stuff. I would say like if everything's the same, that's probably going to be a problem. But really, the idea is to make the world make your lives feel complete. Like, don't want the Friends effect. Are you familiar with the show Friends?
Yes.
For a cast of 5 characters, they really only interact with like 3 people outside of their core group. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. What I'd like to do then is let's do a bio break because we've been at it for a little over an hour and a half. And then I'll go over a couple more rules for the game. We'll do the beginning of session stuff, which is going to be pretty quick. And then we'll get into playing and, hopefully get hour or 2 playing maybe. Should just be able to get started and start, generating some plot points and getting a feel for who our characters are. But in any case, let's say at 48 after we come back. Awesome. See you guys in a bit. Okay, so we are all back. So a couple mechanics that we need to talk about. I've mentioned the body bag, and this is where we are going to be storing all of the different problems. Throughout the game, basically, when I determine it's time to introduce something new to the game, I will go ahead and draw a chip out of the bag, and that's going to introduce a new element. Basically, I will create a new problem based on what the type of chip I pull. Really, these are basically my moves. So if I pull a white chip, I can do things like escalate trouble at school, or introduce or escalate trouble at school, trouble at work, neighborhood drama, create an issue at in your home. Greens are all about temptations. Reds are about basically, it's called bloody messes. They're all about kind of the lies that you've been telling. And black is about undeath. In addition to that, if you just give me a golden opportunity, I don't need to draw a chip. I can just make the move that's appropriate to the situation you're creating. That said, the other reason why you want to put chips in the bag is because this is actually what's going to basically keep track of our end game. What's going to happen is at the end of each session, I am going to take out all the chips, count them up, and basically mark progress towards a final crisis. A final crisis is the big issue that the family is going to need to figure out in order to continue as a family. So what will happen is when we hit 10 chips of a color, we're going to foreshadow what that specifically is going to be. And that means we're going to hit we should hit multiple foreshadows before the end of the game. When we hit 20 chips, that's when we trigger the end game. And that final crisis happens, and we work our way through that crisis. So if it's a white crisis, there's an opportunity for a big move. New start somewhere new. A green is one of the family members gets a golden opportunity that's going to take them away from the rest of the family. Red is going to be the big reveal. The world finds out about zombies. So there's a lot of questions involving what does the family do in reaction to that? And then black is you're being threatened with the zombie apocalypse. Basically, something's going. You get wind that something's going to happen. That will mean that zombies are going to overrun the planet. And you need to make decisions of how you're going to respond, or if you're going to respond to try and stop that. The last thing that I need to go over, while I realized that I needed to make some edits to that sheet, is you notice that everyone has on their character sheet a place that says desires. Most of your characters' desires work the same way. At the beginning of each session, you come up with 2 things that you want to see happen. Now, these are things that the character wants to see happen, not you, the player. And they are kind of selfish things. They are not like things that are specifically good for the family. They could be. It could be fix that bookcase, or find a new job, or tell my boss off. Or it could be something relating to the family, like, I want this person to apologize for this. Things like that. But the idea is, it's not things, it is what your character desires, not what your character thinks is right. At any given point, when you do something to help further that desire, you add a green chip to the bag. However, if at any time you give up, you ignore that desire for the good of the family, you erase that desire for the session, and you I put a black and a white chip in the bag to represent, hey, look, you care about family, but you're also making this, these whole undeath problems the focus of your attention. So undeath becomes a bigger problem. If at any time you find you don't have any desires, you kind of become an asshole. And each type of character is an asshole in a different way. And that lasts until you have desires again, which basically means the beginning of the next session. The change, however, is very different. You are kind of being driven by your id here. So instead of having a desire, longer thought out desires, you're impulsive. At any given time, you want to do one of 8 different things. You want to eat, fuck, destroy, protect, own, embarrass, experience, or connect. Basically, very basic desires. As the change going through the game, and that's triggered, and that pull down is on the summary sheet because that's where you're going to spend most of your time. Just whenever you're in a scene, keep changing what that is as a reminder of what you want right then and there. There's no way for you not to have a desire. You always want something. So that should be the entire game. Are there any questions before we get started?
So, do you want us to note 2 desires on our sheet right now then?
Yes, and put them on the summary section. That's what they're designed to go because, like I said, the desire section is supposed to be like the summary section is supposed to be where we live most of the time. So I wanted that anything that's quickly changed, I wanted that inputted there as opposed to the actual character sheets, which don't really get updated once we're done with character creation. They're more there as a reference. And as I said before, as far as the character keeper goes, if you need to make any changes to color, font size, spacing, anything like that to make it easier to read, go right ahead. I kind of was concentrating on making it functional as opposed to paying attention to how's this going to look to other people. Nice. I also really like that idea of taking the family out to a decent restaurant.
And while waiting on that, I added an NPC for the retired boss couple for Barbara. So if you have edit stuff to that, Barbara, you may change them if you like. I just thought that they should probably pop up at some point.
Okay.
Oh, that looks good. Yeah.
And I put them on only one line because I figure if I eat one, I'm probably eating both of them.
Any thoughts for Second Desires? Things could be like for Claire, possibly finish that article before the deadline, or
Yeah, I think I'll go with something simple like that.
and the way I'm envisioning it is, as we progress through the game, there's going to be more specific things like, oh yeah, this is really important to my character.
Do they need to be super important things?
No, well, they're important to your character. They're the reason the first the first games of this I played, I found that the family just the non-change tended to really only focus on the changed problems and not the things that their characters actually wanted. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that seems that seems like I need something to encourage them to take care of themselves as well. So that's where Desires came from, is a reminder that it can't just be about the changed.
And that's kind of a nifty mechanic that if you ignore them twice, then you go to essentially Darkest Self for the rest of the session.
Yes, I definitely was borrowing Darkest Self there. But a less absolute game fuckery Darkest Self.
I mean, going on a murderous rampage is my shtick, so you guys can't have it.
The change does not need a Darkest Self. That's what black chips are for. Sneak off and eat a cheeseburger because she's vegetarian, because she's vegan. I love it. Oh, okay.
I think I totally was vegetarian before the change too, so that's probably extra sibling conflict.
Oh, that's probably what's bringing this on. It's like you're just chowing down on like this nice juicy leg steak, and Barbara's eating a salad, and she's just like, can't there at least be chicken in here? Speaking of which, it is time for you guys to sit, start planning out dinner. Who normally cooks?
I think, well, if Barbara cooks, she's gonna force everybody to eat vegan with her. So I guess it depends on how much Claire is okay with that.
I think Claire likes to cook occasionally. So what I think Claire writes about is stuff with food and history of various foods and its place in cultures over the course of history, stuff like that. Really cool articles, honestly. I'd read them. But yeah, so I think Claire likes to cook, especially because they appreciate not vegan food as well.
Okay, well, you're around, and it sounds like the cooking duties is usually split. So yeah, you're probably everyone just got home from work, and have a conversation. Might be a good time to unmute your mics.
So I'm going to imagine that it's Claire's night to cook. And so Barbara's going to come home from work and find Claire in the kitchen and come into the kitchen to talk with her. And she's going to kind of sidle up kind of close to Claire. So they're kind of like shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip. And just ask, so what's on the menu tonight?
Well, we're out of most things, looks like. Claire's been rummaging through the fridge, and there is not a ton in there. So yeah, I think we need to make a grocery run at some point. But how would you guys feel about going out tonight? I've a little saved up. I don't know about you, if I can afford it.
As long as there's vegan options.
Yes, Barb. I know. Go someplace with vegan options.
But not all vegan. Aaron pokes into the kitchen.
I mean, you cannot eat human food, like regular food, at all, Aaron.
Yeah, I assume that it's going to be extremely unpleasant if I try.
Yeah.
Well, although we established that Aaron was lying and was saying that, like,
yeah, I think Aaron has totally tried to make do with just like a particularly bloody cut of beef or something, and it is not good enough. But she's trying to hold up the illusion.
Erin has been presenting human flesh as rare steaks to you guys,
which is super messed up.
I do it for you.
Do you though?
Fair. I mean, I could cook or something if we need to. We don't have to go somewhere, but
I mean,
or I could run to the grocery store. I get an employee discount.
Yeah, I mean, there's this new Chinese place that looked really good, but might want to try that.
Aaron, you're feeling pretty hungry yourself, and apparently you're all out of stores in the fridge.
Like, and I'm starving, so I'd rather get food now.
Chinese works for me, so.
How about it?
Claire?
I'm not sure there's a lot I can eat there, but if you guys want to go...
They've got meat.
Yeah, but it's generally like, fried or not rare enough.
Oh, your stomach is totally...
And I'm kind of starving.
Well, look, if we want Asian, we can go do sushi. You can have some raw fish. I can do a cucumber roll, avocado roll.
Raw fish doesn't quite, hit that urge.
Well, they've got the crazy octopus or squid or whatever. I mean, it's not even cut.
Why don't we just go downtown and see what's around? I'm sure we can find something that has both vegan options and a good rare steak,
I think that place is probably confused about its customer base. But I mean, I guess we can go look. But I'm pretty hungry.
This is the 21st century. Everybody has vegan options now, even steakhouses.
You'd be surprised.
Fine.
All right. Ready to go when you guys are, I think.
Yeah, so do you guys walk or drive or take public transportation?
I think Barbara probably tries to ride her bike as much as she can, and if she can't, she takes the bus.
Well, Claire doesn't bike, so they're partial to public transit.
Aaron really hates taking the bus because it's like sitting in a buffet and never eating anything, but she can probably contain herself long enough.
I don't know. You're as as everyone's doing the tie their shoes, put on their coats thing. You're starting to get hunger pains.
Could we call an Uber or something so we can get there faster? Because I'm starving.
If we're gonna call any rideshare, we have to call Lyft because Uber is not ethical. They treat their drivers
use it as
like
a generic term.
Yeah, it's like calling a tissue a Kleenex bar. Come on. Yeah, we'll get a Lyft. Nobody here is claiming Uber is like a good company for humanity. Yeah, I'm just down to eat as fast as possible, so.
Yeah, fast is really my main interest here. And loud stomach grumble.
All right. And I think Claire just calls a Lyft for the middle of downtown where there's a bunch of restaurants and they can just walk around and see what's a good option. If 3 minutes.
Yeah. It turns out that Chris is actually the person who picks up the Uber request. But Aaron, you don't think you can make it. So how are you, because I did draw a black chip, and the effect I chose was the change needs to eat right now. So how's this playing out?
Erin's looking incredibly uncomfortable because she can't eat Chris. He works at the bookstore. Someone's going to notice Barbara's going to notice when he doesn't come back to work at the bookstore. But she's really, really hungry. So just digging her nails into the seat, trying to rein it in, and it's not going well.
So you're going to have to kill somebody. Do you kill Chris, or do you wait until you get to downtown and then kill some random stranger off the street where there's more witnesses?
She is trying to wait and kill some rando, but that's going to go even worse than eating Chris, so...
So describe what it's like. Chris, and Chris is chatty the whole way through, and it's probably really grating to you. It's like, Oh man, yeah, this is my side hustle. I'm just not getting enough hours at the bookstore. Um, but hey, it's good money, and I get to kind of set my own hours, and puts food on the table. You know me, I'm partial to those Twinkies.
Huge stomach rumble as he says food on the table.
So yeah, and I'm trying to save up for an engagement ring, and you know, uh, and just he's just going on and on and on with the conversation. So does Aaron make it until they park?
Aaron's gonna lean over to Barbara and say, I really have to eat something really soon, or this is gonna go badly.
Well, we're almost downtown. We're going to eat. Surely you can wait.
Okay. So yeah, she's gonna make it to downtown, narrowly.
Well, here's the thing. Pay attention to each other's moves and keys, because you might have some opportunities to hit some of these.
I'm just looking at that, Kiev, I told you so, and Kiev driving ID, where it's that I told you not to eat the rideshare driver, and look what I did. But
It's driving id.
Oh, driving id. Okay, that works. I was going.
Yeah,
I don't
driving
really understand why it's
licenses.
driving ID, but I get
Maybe
it
I
now.
need to put it in lowercase. Okay. So I was more thinking that the confidant has a bunch of things that happen when you tell them secrets.
Oh no, but it's my darkest, most shameful secret.
Damn right it is. You good? We can, man, we don't even, you need something to eat right now. There's Outback Steakhouse right down the block. We can go get something right now.
Oh, you can eat an Australian.
Aaron just looks incredibly uncomfortable at this. I was like, I think I need something more.
I know they do this. I know that they do a pretty rare steak. Is that not?
Yeah, and Aaron's just plotting how, like Outback Steakhouse has like dumpsters out back and stuff, and she can eat somebody who's just taking the trash out. This will work. She can make this work.
I will say, it probably the way this is going to pan out is if you don't eat Chris, you're going to eat the first person you see when the car stops.
Oh no. Let's say I'm in the middle so I can whisper to everybody. And also I'm surrounded by delicious people that I don't want to eat. And I lean over to Claire and say, I think I've got to eat Chris. I mean, it's really hard not to right now. I am really hungry.
No, I'm hungry too.
Okay, I don't think you feel hungry the same way I do.
Service. 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think I can wait 10 minutes. I mean, it's a thing.
Aaron, you're not eating Chris. He's a person.
And I have dietary restrictions.
Yeah. You need your steaks bloody. 10 minutes.
Aaron just kind of cracks and goes, but I really need my steaks a bit more human.
Sorry?
It's really not the same if they're not people.
Okay, I get it if it's not the same, but
It's like,
given that it's
No.
also not, eating. Sorry, Barb, but eating beef is not the same as murdering a person. So yeah, it's not the same, dude.
yeah, but like how you're kind of disappointed when Barb has, like cheese substitute and stuff.
If we're talking about a
It's sort of
human life, we can deal with disappointment.
But I mean, he's only one
Aaron,
guy.
Come on.
How would you know that it's different? You've been eating steak for how long now?
I just know, okay.
This
It's like
isn't
trying
like
to
some
base your diet on bubble gum.
Like, no, I can trust that that's just something, but again, like, I get that it's disappointing, but would you rather be disappointed or kill our driver?
So you remember
Oh no, Chris,
one
we're
time
not
I was
talking about you.
really hungry and I noticed you? I really don't want that to happen again, okay?
Barb.
I don't like this. Look, I'm not gonna let you eat Chris. It's not gonna happen.
Okay, then you can just
Can we
like
get
let
out
me
here,
out
maybe
somewhere
find
and I can like find somebody we don't know.
Find a squirrel or something, maybe? Stray dog?
Sure, a squirrel.
You know
Alright.
that eating animals doesn't work.
Chris, Aaron's not feeling great.
Yeah,
Can we
but if they're
get
not
out?
watching, I can eat
Get out
whoever
now.
I want, so.
Ask Chris to, let us out here because Aaron's not feeling great. Don't want to mess up your car since it is part of your livelihood.
And Erin makes a show of looking a little green around the gills and everything, and it's not entirely a show. She's just not looking great.
And by the way, you did tell a family member what's really, or a family member did tell Claire what's really bothering them. So that move triggers.
Okay, so you can ignore the next chip you add to the body bag this session. Neat. And would that also trigger the key of the confession?
I don't think they really. You did not get the impression. You still are of the impression that Aaron is eating human food most of the time. So I don't think Aaron is fully confessed yet.
I was definitely angling more toward Key of the Crying Shoulder, where it's just, this is really, really rough on me, guys, please. Because my emotions are more being really, really hungry.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you hit the Key of the Crying Shoulder, but I think you did hit that. You did hit that move.
I'm still starving and would rather not eat stray cats. So you wanna?
You guys go ahead, and I'll just catch up with you, okay? I mean, you don't need to say this.
All right.
Okay. So Chris is like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Are you sure you don't want me to drive you home?"
No, I'll be fine. I just need to get some air. walk around a bit.
Yeah, so Chris pulls over, and and there is somebody on the street. Right then and there. Like I said, first person you saw.
I don't think Claire is, like, looking right now. I think they're kind of just... I mean, they could hear, obviously, but they're not actively, like, looking, at least, watching.
So, Aaron, what does it look like when you attack and kill this person?
I'm still trying so hard to restrain myself, so it's not as brutal as it might have been, but sort of just kind of grab person, hand over the mouth kind of thing, and just disappear into an alley. And we know it's bad, but the camera doesn't actually see the details.
Yeah, so Chris,
Have
Chris
we, had a chance to pull away at this point, or?
Nope.
Oh no!
Chris is like, did your friend just kidnap a cop?
That was a cop? Oh my goodness.
That was, in fact, Officer Barbino.
I think she just needed to talk to him in private.
He was probably just
that's
worried about it.
If you can't talk to your local police officer, who can you talk to?
I mean, she just like grabbed that guy.
Yeah, I don't think you
she's
saw
that
what.
strong.
I don't think you saw what you think you did, Chris. Look, we'll go ahead and pay for the fare, and I'll see you at work on Monday, okay?
Okay. I hope your friend's okay. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it was. Look, we're gonna check on her, and I'll see you, okay?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Bye, Chris.
I would give him a big tip if I were you.
I always give drivers a big tip, Barb. Come on.
Just making sure.
Who do you think I am?
Well, okay, look. What are we gonna do about Aaron?
Christ.
Because I don't want to go back there. I don't want to see this.
I think I gotta see this.
Do you really want to get in between her and whatever she's doing to that cop?
Just peeking into the alley. Aaron?
Oh my god, this is tasting so good. By the way, I believe you have a move of what happens when you kill and eat a person. Or, I'm sorry, a kitty. The move just lets you do it whenever you want.
But you can ignore the next chip because you told me what was bothering you.
Yeah, so I don't actually add those chips to the body bag, but I am definitely
ignore one of them.
Oh, okay. Then I will add a green one.
I believe this is the one for killing people. Now, if you want to describe how you're relishing in the joys of eating people,
but he's not a threat to myself or the family. He's just some rando.
Alleviating your hunger is always...
Oh, okay. Then I will keep the red chip and ditch the black.
Yes, you needing to eat someone is a threat.
Okay, true, because otherwise I would have eaten my family, and that's not very friendly.
And I think I probably get to tear up my take family out to a restaurant desire for the session.
So you are adding a white and a black to the bag.
Added a white and a black chip, so
and then you just
get rid of that.
Yep. So we are doing a buckets of blood approach to this, so you don't need to go into too much detail. But what does the scene look like?
Yeah, Erin apparently made quick work of this guy. So you can see that there's like some old cop uniform and she's kind of licking blood off her hands. Like she stuffed herself and she's just kind of tidying up now.
Now remember, you eat about as much as a person does. So
yeah.
you know,
So there's
even
probably still some guy there, but he's like
a
pulled off
pound or
around a
two.
corner. You can't quite see it, but it's pretty obvious that she just chomped a guy.
Did you eat his face? Because you said that was the best part.
I definitely ate his face. I don't have any restraint right now. I had to go right for the good bits.
Green chip, you ate the best part. That's totally that's totally being relishing in the joys of life.
Yeah, relishing the joys of life. If somebody else wants to enjoy how good a face tastes, they can add a white chip. That expression was perfect.
Yeah. So, yeah. You come into the scene and like you can tell Erin just chewed off this guy's face.
Couldn't find a cat, huh?
Barbara's going to vomit.
No. You know, not so many cats in this area of town.
There's literally one right back there.
I didn't see it first.
Oh, the cat. The cat's like definitely eyeing the corpse. Like
Erin's totally gonna let the cat eat some of Officer Barbrino if it wants to, because she's not that greedy.
The cat doesn't know you, so it's not getting close to you, but it's definitely interested in the corpse.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Barbara's done being sick, and she's gonna start rationalizing as best she can. All right, so look, what's done is done. We got to do something with that. Can you eat some more? Gobble it all up? Make it
I don't think I can eat an entire guy at once, but like we could do some kind of to-go bag thing.
Okay. Like, do you want to get garbage bags or something?
That'd work, yeah. And then I can probably like eat this for a while, so this won't be an issue again. I mean, I'm really sorry it came to this. I should have kept better care of myself.
All right. So are we just standing in an alleyway?
With a dead cop. Like you do.
Is he recognizable as a cop even at this point?
I think he still has uniform on, because I didn't like strip him before I ate him.
What did you do something specifically to kill him before you started eating him, or did you just tackle him and start eating him?
Probably just like the typical movie neck snap kind of thing, where I was like, don't have time for this, gotta chump your face. And I probably have, undead sort of strength because I don't feel muscle pain anymore. Who knows?
Yep. Nope, it's your move basically says when you decide to kill somebody, you kill them.
True, and when the human condition would normally hold me back, it doesn't. So yeah, I totally killed a cop who's a lot bigger than me.
Yep.
Well, I don't think we can leave him here.
Yeah, so...
More cats are starting to gather.
Maybe the cats will take care of it.
Well, but
there's a lot of stray cats in this area.
But this is good food here. I mean, I don't have to kill anybody else if we just keep this for a while.
I mean, you don't have to kill anybody else regardless, right? Because you can bring home steaks and stuff.
Hey, Claire, your phone's ringing.
Don't answer that.
Oh, shit.
Ooh, answer that, please.
It's Veronica.
Wait, what?
Veronica, your boss?
Yeah. What about her?
She's the one who's calling you. That's what your call ID says.
Oh. I need to answer this. So you guys...
yeah, I'll just clean this
have
up.
fun.
Take the call. It's all okay.
Yellow?
Claire, darling, what are you doing tonight?
I was gonna go get something to eat. That got put on hold. Anyway, what's up?
Excellent. There's a new pop-up by a protege of a celebrity chef. Chef George. Their protege has a pop-up going on tonight, and I need you there to write to try it out and write an article.
Which protege, Cassandra or Alexandra?
Alexandra.
Oh, okay, yep.
And you'll like this. They are the pop-up is doing his historical Mediterranean dishes. Things that she tried to recreate dishes back from the time of the Iliad.
Yes, wow. Sounds. And you want me there tonight?
I want you there in 15 minutes.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I can make that happen.
Excellent. I knew I could count on you.
Yeah, you got it. I'll be right there.
Excellent, darling. And you can have that article for me by tomorrow morning?
Jesus.
Oh, come on. We need to get ahead of everyone else on it.
Yeah, no, tomorrow morning it is.
Excellent. I knew I could count on you. Marvelous.
Yeah. I'll be there in 15. Thanks for the call.
Excellent.
Bye-bye. And I guess I'm gonna go head over to that new pop-up.
Do you not even tell them that?
I mean, I'm gonna say I have to go, work stuff. I trust you guys to deal with this in the best way.
You have to go for work stuff? Are you?
Yeah, I have
okay, bye.
Oh, shit. Claire, you can't go.
I mean, she's
There's
gotta
a
go.
dead
This is our
fucking
job.
cop on the ground.
He's not getting any deader.
I'm sure you guys have a handle on it. There's only like 3/4 of him left anyway. It's carryable.
I was really hungry.
There's about 200 pounds of person here.
Look, I have to go.
Claire, what's more
We're
important,
talking
your
later.
job or
Okay.
us?
You can't make her pick like that. I mean, her job's important.
Yeah, that's
More important than us.
We can carry one guy between us.
Can
don't.
we?
I'm tough.
Fine. You know what, Claire?
I know you keep saying that your vegan diet doesn't make you weak or anything. I think this is the time to prove it.
Always throwing it in my face. Fine. Let's do it. Pick an end.
Yeah, don't give me that guilt trip crap. Or, like,
Okay.
I'm sure you guys have this under control.
So Claire is going off to do this, correct?
Yes.
So it sounds like we're triggering a couple of keys here. It sounds like we triggered the Carpe Diem, in that you were basically, Aaron basically encouraged you to do what you were passionate about. So I believe that adds a white chip to the bag. But Barbara also told you not to do another thing. So this is a more complicated key. Barbara, would you like to read what it says?
So the key is the key of told you so. And it reads, when you warn the family not to do something and they do it anyway, put 1 to 3 white chips on your character sheet. If things go bad, you can put those chips in the bag if you forgive your family. If things go well, instead put that many red chips to the bag.
So how many white chips, or how many chips would you like to set aside for this?
So the white chips are good, right?
The white chips are mundane issues.
Okay, and the red ones are the bloody.
Yeah, they're about you potentially getting caught.
Wow. And the key is if the white goes in, if things go bad.
And you forgive them.
Yeah, I'm gonna gamble on things going bad. So, I don't know. Let's do 2. Why not?
Okay. Now you're not choosing if things, if you're guessing if things go bad or good.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing is you're saying how many mechanically how severe is it? So you're going to say, potentially 2 chips of either red or white are going to go into the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Claire rushes off to do rushes off to go to the pop-up, whereas Aaron and Barbara, the twins, are trying to deal with the dead body.
Yeah.
So let's start with the dead body.
We're gonna bundle up a dead cop and take him home.
Yeah, what are you gonna bundle him up with?
Little bundle of joy.
Also, are there any garbage cans, dumpsters, anything in the alley here?
Sure. Let's. So this is how risky mechanics work. If it's something that's possible, if it's something that you can just do, you just do it. If it's something that you can't do, I say no, that's beyond what you're capable of. However, if it's something that might be possible, what I do is I draw a chip. If you want it to succeed, this chip happens. If you decide that, no, you don't want that chip to succeed, then I discard the chip, but you fail at what you were trying to do. So you can accept that a white chip is going to happen and find everything, find something that's going to be serviceable to put the body in. Or you can decide that you can't find that and this chip has no effect.
I think a white chip is less pressing than needing to hide a guy's body, so let's go for it.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, there's a couple of metal trash cans with lids to keep the raccoons and the cats out, and there's also a big dumpster. So you could probably dump all the trash from one of those garbage cans into the dumpster, and you might need to break some bones, but Aaron doesn't think that's a big deal. You could probably stuff this guy into this dirty, stinky trash can.
I mean, normally we'd, piece him out, but I don't have, butcher's knives here, so we gotta make do.
Well, you're the expert here. Tell me what to do.
And I'll walk her through helping crack the guy enough to get him into this.
Yeah, so he's just Aaron's just breaking this body like it was made out of pencils. Oh, this arm's in the way, crack. Like it was nothing. And eventually, enough of this, you have a putty man in a garbage can. Aaron is still covered in a lot of blood.
Yeah, I tried to be tidy, but probably should have used like a lobster bib or something.
Yeah, what you did really wasn't good, and I think the lack of a lobster bib was the least of it.
It wouldn't make getting home easier.
Well, look, how are we going to do this?
I don't think we can take a trash can on the bus, can we?
We could try.
I mean, really, is it going to be that weird for someone with some blood on them and a trash can on the bus? People get pretty weird on the bus.
Yeah, that sounds a little too weird. Lift is probably not a good idea.
I promise I won't eat the driver, okay? I just ate.
Yeah, great.
This is the sort of thing that Uber is great for.
Yeah, we could take an Uber. I know you don't like them, but they.
Oh, I'm not actually here. I just wanted to make it funny.
Yeah, this idea occurs to me. I could hear Claire say in the back of my mind, "This is what Uber is for. It's for hiding the bodies."
I think that only works if you're the driver.
Man, I should start driving for Uber then.
Aaron, can we please be serious?
I thought I was, but okay.
Okay, look. How tight's that lid?
Can I jam it on? It fits pretty smoothly.
What if we tip it over and roll it?
Sure, we could try that.
Okay.
I don't think it's so tight that the lid would stay on. The thing is Aaron, you kind of have a move that says something about that might apply here. I mean, is this garbage can really that heavy?
No, I can just pick it up and carry it around, but so I'll sort of tip it and the lid kind of wobbles like, oh, well, that's not going to work. And just pick the garbage can up with the guy in it.
I mean, it's not like you get tired.
Yeah. So where are we sticking this guy? I mean, maybe we should fetch him away from home, or maybe we should just take him home. I don't know.
Look, I don't want this happening again, and it's already been done. So let's just take him home.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to waste good food.
Something like that. So let's just get him home as fast as we can.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you can get him home. I mean, you get some odd looks from people like, why the hell is this woman carrying a trash can? Like, but hey, and you get home and when you get to your apartment door, there's a puddle of water coming out from under the door.
Oh no, what now?
I don't know. Look, I'll use my key to unlock the door and rush inside.
Yeah, so your apartment is basically completely covered in a thin layer of water. What happened was Claire accidentally left the freezer door open, and the ice maker kept on churning out ice that spilled out onto the floor, and the whole freezer defrosted, creating a whole big mess.
Great. So we're covered in water. There's no freezer to stuff that broken body in.
But I guess bright side, now there's nothing else in the freezer, so I've got lots of space.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, this also overloaded the refrigerator, so it's not running anymore.
Great.
See, this is why we needed a chest freezer.
In the apartment.
Yeah. I mean, where else are you going to put a guy?
Don't you work behind a meat counter?
Yeah, but they probably would ask questions about meat they didn't know about coming in too often.
Well, what do you mean too often? It's one body. We're going to do it once. I don't plan on doing this again.
So should we get a mop or something?
Well, yeah, but what about the dead body in the trash can?
Well, we've got to fix the freezer before we can get him there. Or I guess, yeah, sure, I can try to sneak him into work in a trash can, and that'll go great, I'm sure.
Good. Let's go.
Okay, let's cut. So, Claire, you are at this pop-up, and the food is delicious and amazing wine. This is a just so you know, I drew a red chip. This has been a great a great little event, and there's actually some pretty important people here. There's the mayor's here. There's they're actually married to the chief of police. Let's come up with a couple of names for them. What's the chief of police name?
Rodriguez.
She's a police officer, and she's a really friendly person. But about halfway through the meal, her cell phone goes off. Mayor Red is her partner. Different use of partner. About halfway through, she gets a phone call and she excuses herself. And she comes back to the table 15 minutes. Hey, I'm sorry. There's an emergency down in the station. One of our guys went missing. So it was lovely meeting you, Claire. I hope to see you at these events in the future. And I know you're a food blogger, but you know what? If you ever want an interview, feel free. Here's my card.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, officer. Chief.
Yeah.
Chief.
And she kind of rushes out, pulls out her cell phone, and is like, yeah, so what block were they on? Okay, that's not far from here. And she's kind of walking off.
I'm gonna try to tail her discreetly, just see if I can overhear what the situation is, how much they know.
Okay, tailing a trained cop.
Yeah, probably
not the best idea. So, I'll let you learn some stuff if you accept the black chip.
Yeah, I accept the black chip.
Yeah, she doesn't notice. So she's like, okay, so where was Officer Barbino? Okay. And you're saying that witnesses just saw a woman pull him off the street and then nothing? Weird. Okay, let's try to see if we can ID this woman, and then out of nowhere she gets tackled by actually by one of the wait staff. And the wait staff actually she is like, the phone is still sitting on the ground, and the wait staff is like chopping on her ear and then going for like the nose. And it's bloody, and you're hearing like squeaking of someone yelling like, "What's going on?" And she's yelling.
Oh God. Oh.
Actually, it's close to 10 o'clock. I think this is a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, because Claire doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So, works for me.
I'm just making a note so I have this for later. Okay, so that's the session. Let's do the end of session stuff, which is pulling out the remaining chips.
Oh God.
Looks like 2 black and a white. So now normally there would be more, but this being the first session, it's a shorter one. So I mark that I'm just adding those to the totals. Remember, when we hit 10, we're going to have a foreshadow of that type of event. And then when we hit 20, that's in any one color, that's going to hit the end game. But so far, what do you guys think?
I'm having fun, largely because of the tips of like, don't recognize that you're going too far, and obstacles are small. And I don't know why you guys are so worked up about this. I just want to eat a cup now and then.
Yep, those are. I forgot to include those on the actual character keeper. I should definitely do those, because those are things to help keep you in character, and things to help push your role in the family. So thank you for bringing those up. Those I think those definitely did help. Honestly, I even forgot they existed.
ACAD, all cops are delicious.
They are fun. It is fun to attack cops. I'll be honest, because there's fallout to that.
So, fun note, I just moved into a new place like yesterday, and so one of my first impressions on my neighbors is me talking loudly about eating cops. This is exciting. So thank you for that.
Excellent.
No, I'm having a lot of fun so far. I think I don't. I think to have like more specific feedback will take a little more time, but had a lot of fun this first session.
Oh, that's completely fair. Do you feel like you're part of a family, which is probably the most important thing to do in the first session, is to make sure you feel like you're part of a family?
Yeah, I like it. It did not. Maybe the non-dysfunctional goal was did not feel like it was met. Though I was a little unclear on whether that was supposed to be like non-dysfunctional before the change, and as dysfunctional as it turns out to be after. But it felt like it could be a family, definitely, at least.
To answer your question, you are supposed to be a family in crisis, effectively, is what it is. So that means it can become a family in dysfunction, or it could be that you deal with the crisis.
Yeah, I feel like we've got potential to be a good, tight family, but this time we were just kind of doing the trying to be a family in the face of your loved one eating random strangers' faces, and it was definitely trying. So.
And I think you hit one of the big themes of the game is what happens when a family member has very difficult needs that aren't being clearly addressed. Which is very much what the Undeath is supposed to be an allegory for in this game is you have different needs, and these needs are not easy. They are highly problematic, and I think you definitely did something that I've not seen before in my playtest, but is definitely very true to families, which is trying to make your needs seem minimized and trying to have the family ignore those needs.
Oh, okay. I was going, you've really never had anyone eat a cop in an alley? It seems like that would come up every game. But yeah, okay, minimizing my needs makes sense.
Oh, people have eaten people. This might be the first cop I've had killed. I'm not sure.
Again, that feels like a missed opportunity in other games because, come on.
Oh, I've had them eat terrible people. One time I had the change to be a teenager, and he ate his coach. That was pretty good. The first time I ran, the changed was it was a 2-player game. It was a homosexual couple, and the change was very flirty towards the pool boy. And he ate the pool boy in the pool, which was problematic because then there was no one to clean the pool.
And blood is going to gunk up the filter, so...
So yeah, I think it was a good first session.
I definitely felt. Oh, sorry.
No,
I was just gonna say I definitely felt the difficulty of being moral in the face of my sister doing something awful that she had to do. Having so I felt the family pull. And it felt like it was pulling in the opposite direction of my character.
And that's very true. It's like, is this even moral anymore?
Yeah. Something I think just came to me is I think with having the Undeath as this allegory, I think a lot of the emotional turmoil that can come to real families dealing with that sort of, not undeath, but a family member who has developed extra, inconvenient, problematic needs. I think the resentment that can build up, and the conflict that has with your love for and desire to support your family, I think that flows really naturally. Seems to flow really naturally from the pursuit of the desires, and so it seems like those could maybe even be given more emphasis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I said, the desires very much came off of a, hey, look, people are getting the concept, the concept and the feel of the game, but not the, but they're kind of being a little gentle on the relationships. So it's definitely one of the mechanics that I feel the most need to try out, and especially long term, how are they going to work? Because I've done it, I've used them for one shot before, and in the one shot, it was cool because there was a couple of romantic desires with NPCs that people wanted to work through, and definitely people had to make some tough choices with those. But at the same time, we didn't see how that panned out long term. So, the question is, how did, really any mechanic in this game is really supposed to just influence the players to do things more or less often. So I'm excited to see how often you guys play for or against your desires.
Yeah, I think it's a really good engine for conflict. Just that sort of, when family members have conflicting needs and conflicting desires, that that conflict flows so naturally from that. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, that's why I hope for it. And I really wanted a mechanic that allowed people to make those sacrifices, but also had reasons for them not to. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see how these moves and keys work more long term. In one shots, I push for them really heavily because it's a one shot. I also probably would have, tried to run it for an additional hour, but with it being a campaign, I'm like, hey, let's not burn out on it. Let's give a chance for, the game to marinate a little bit before coming through. See, I'm food blogging already. But I'm really excited to see what happens. I want to see the relationship between Claire and Barbara play out and see if anything grows from that. I want to see that conflict between Barbara and Aaron, and obviously they've had a very strong dynamic before that is completely different now. And it seems like it's very contentious right now, where it even feels like Aaron's a little afraid to be Aaron around Barbara, which is cool, and it's something that we can try to resolve. And it will be interesting to see how Claire and Aaron feed into each other, because it seems like Aaron may encourage Claire to really pursue those career passions, which are totally cool. And if I keep drawing green chips, but yeah, I'm very pleased with this.
And I'm just thinking, yeah, do what you love. And if you want to write a really exciting expose, I have human meat for you to try.
The joys of cannibalism.
That'd be a great way to get fired and also viral.
Yeah, but yeah, so far it's been a lot of fun, and I like the dynamics we have going, where we're supportive and also a problem, and yeah, just trying to be found family.
Yeah, it's also very interesting that this is the first game where the change has hidden a major aspect of their condition from the rest of the family. So I've not seen, it's not a choice that I ever really intended for the change to make, but you made it. I'm like, seems interesting. Let's see how it plays out.
I was totally going for that, well, I'm already dead, but I don't want to be more of a burden sort of thing where, yeah, it's going to explode, but trying to hide the details, because that seems very normal and real to me.
No, it's very much, the student hiding the fact that they're failing out of their classes because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I was honestly really struck just how true to life a lot of the conflict in just this short session felt. Like I have, a member of my immediate family has special health needs that have often been inconvenient, and it's just like, wow, this felt really real, considering it was about undead and eating cops.
Oh, he's eating cops is inconvenient for the family. I
It
shouldn't
is
put it
pretty
like
damn
that.
inconvenient.
Probably for any family, that's pretty inconvenient. Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you all for playing. I'm excited to do this again next week. I will be honest with you. Next weekend, I'm flying to Chicago and flying back. So I'll have about a day's rest before I do this again. But just, heads up if I'm a little out of it. It's because I had a busy weekend. But I'm excited to do this again. And then as we get further along, we'll figure out whether we want to keep this at 5 sessions or if we're going to extend it to the 6. And just, kind of take things from there. Well, again, thanks again, and see you next week.
Thanks, Dave. Have a
Thanks,
safe
Dave.
trip.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Yep, and nice to meet you, Alex.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Alex.
Likewise. Yeah,
And
thanks
good
for.
to see you, Ryan.
Nice to meet you all.
Yep. I know me and Ryan are pretty active on the Slack. I don't know if I've seen Ryan W. on the Slack.
Yeah, I'm around usually.
Okay. So yeah.
I
Yep,
try to
so-
keep up with Slack. There's a lot, but
It is a lot. I don't necessarily fully read everything. So
yeah.
in case I'm going to stop the broadcast. If we want to keep chatting, we can keep chatting.